Hello and welcome to the 125th episode of Rambling Weekly. As you can see, I am in goofy, comfy form. The hat is absolutely ridiculous. I love it. So I hope things have been well. I have, I tried to do one last week, and then I don't know. I got through the recording of it, and I just didn't really like it. And then I've just been super busy with stuff this past week, and I was like, you know what? We'll just let it set and percolate a little bit, and hopefully, in coming back to it, I can do what I feel is like a better job with it. I don't know, I just, for whatever reason, it wasn't sitting well with me. I've done that before. I've done that plenty of times before with videos and stuff, and generally that leads to like a 3-month hiatus, if not longer. Because then I just like, I'll come back to it, and then I don't. So, let's see that I've got the reflection there, easily entertained. Hope everybody's doing well. And I've been, like I said, been fairly busy with stuff. I've been reading a couple things. One, has it been this? Yes, one is this one here. Oops, sorry. It is the Viking Book of Aphorisms. Actually, I bought this for a Christmas gift for a coworker, and I'm going through it right now, partially to look through and see if there's anything that I might like and stuff. So I'm just kind of going through that. So I'm reading through that, and then also that's right over there. Can I reach it? Stand up. Have to physically move. What's wrong with me? Anyways, this one here, Ryan Holiday, The Obstacle is the Way. And it did, in what little bit I've read so far, it starts off with Marcus Aurelius, who I've always found to be a very interesting person. It's interesting, but then it's all like, here's somebody who is in the position that they're in and tries so desperately to at least on a personal level, things, a lot of his reign was marred by fighting and warring and such, but on a very personal level, trying to not, it seems like not to cause harm and stuff, but then even though we have his like personal journal and stuff, which we generally suspect is like, he probably didn't want this to be released or what have you, but to have that and just kind of these reflections and stuff, if you can't like the whole like stoicism sort of thing of, and stoicism, but his own kind of personal bent to it. But it's like, if you can't paraphrasing it, but it's like if you can't learn someone, or you can't like help them or lift them up, teach them or something, learn to bear with them. That kind of attitude. But you have that, and then there's one of the Roman historians, I don't know if it was during his time or shortly after he had passed. Well, it would have been at least some point after his kid was around, but I don't know how. I don't remember the exact timing, but there was the remark that the worst thing that Aurelius ever did for Rome was to have a son, because Aurelius was the last. He was the last of the 5 good emperors, and they had done succession through through personal choice instead of lineage, and he, for whatever reason, decided it was appropriate to go back to it. And I think it's probably the hubris of thinking, oh well, I can teach this to my son, and instead of allowing his kid to kind of grow up and be a kid, he's in this powerful, his kid's in this powerful position, but he's never learned to kind of control hedonistic impulses, and whoops, poopsie whoopsie, we got some trouble. So but yeah, very interesting, fascinating. Like a lot of people in life, we just happen to have journal some over 1,500 years ago. It's a long time ago. So it is neato in that fashion. So, but yeah, so I'm reading that. Those two things. Do I have anything else going on? I haven't really played much of anything in the last couple of weeks. I've been trying to keep up with writing. A little bit more hit and miss than I'd like this past week, but I did finish a chapter, and I'm having a good groove with it and enjoying it. There's a character that has just been introduced that's a little bit more there to help bring some levity to the stuff that's been going on. So it's kind of nice to have that finally break, because that was sort of the tension that's building up in part one. Simmering, not like full weighted, but just kind of like always just simmering or just bubbling in the back of the mind there, and then it breaks out in a full boil at the end, and then carries on into part two. So and it's been going for part two for a bit of time, so now it's kind of like, okay, all right, we're gonna have a little bit of levity and kind of a little bit of breathing room. So it's nice. It is wonderful. But so got that going on. I really haven't played much of anything. Just really haven't had the energy or time to. So or the focus, I guess. That's another thing. Like I've been trying to explain this to people, and maybe me trying to explain it is also me just trying to figure out something about myself. But it's you're playing some. I don't know. I don't mind games, but in the same hand, I don't put any or a lot. I don't really put a lot of thought into them. I just kind of play them. It's just like, whatever. And the same thing with like card games or something like that. I just play whatever. I don't really like if there was something more on the line. I'm a bit more inclined to be invested in it. If we're starting to slip some hundreds in there or something or what have you, then I'm a little bit more inclined to be like, okay, all right. I don't really see much in the way of bragging rights and stuff on it, but maybe because there's not as much skin in the game that it's just kind of like, okay, if you're just playing or something, it's like whatever. But if you're playing for a little bit of the price of entry to get in to play it kind of thing, then it's a little bit more, I'd probably be a bit more inclined to focus and knuckle down and go that way. I just know I have like really, really bad time with cards. Playing tabletop stuff with the peoples on a Thursday night online that we do. Drew, who's on the other podcast that I do, I have never seen someone be so awful at dice. Except for I'm just as bad at playing card games. It's not even like bad at. It's more of like just having the bad luck at playing something. It's just like, ooh, like, when it comes to card games, euchre, which is more of a Midwestern card game. You're taking like the 9 up to king plus the ace, and you have a partner, and you're playing playing on suits and stuff like that. You have 5 cards, and you're trying to win a trick, and at least if you get 3 of them, you get a point. If you get all 5 of them, you get 2. If you go around solo and you get it, I think if you win it, you get 2, but if you get 5, you get 4 points, and you're trying to get to 10, sort of thing. And just to be very basic with it, but like I always forewarn my partner, like, I get the worst cards. However, I will get you that one trick per round. Like, I am just good enough and just clever enough that and part of that's because somebody's dependent on me. We're actually there is an invested interest in actually playing the game instead of just kind of letting it go. I think I might have mentioned this in a previous rambling, but from Dostoevsky's The Gambler, talking about like just the I can't even say it now, the aristocratic way of enjoying games, of just kind of letting chance fall where it may. Yeah, evidently I have that, even though I certainly do not have a lot of aristocratic qualities. I don't know, it's just kind of fun to just, okay, let's now if it was for like a couple grand or something, I'm a little bit more invested. I'm a little bit more focused. I'm a little bit more, no, that aristocratic crap goes out the window. It's serious. we're playing. But that if it's something a little bit more competitive, I'm a lot more willing to do focus. Like, I used to do archery all the time. And no, I didn't do it like competitive or anything like that. I was more competitive with myself to get better at it. And I would even take some of the more shoddy things of like just really cheap down, quote unquote, poor quality ones and still shoot really well, and consistently well. It was just something I like doing. So I don't know where I don't even remember why I even brought that up. But yeah, so got that. I have got another one-shot in person next week that I'm looking forward to. I've been actually like kind of keeping it on the back burner and not as focused as I did with the other one. Part of that is the scenario involved. It's like a shipwreck scenario. So it's like I've been mulling over some things here and there, and the last week, the last handful of days or so, there's been a couple things that have popped into my noggin, and I'm like, oh, that would actually be really fun, or oh, okay, that'd be a really good idea. I ran one of these by Graham. I think I might have ran the other ones by him, but I know I ran one of them by, and he's like, "Well, as long as you do it right, it should be good." And I was like, "Oh, okay." That's what good friends are for, there, right? You run an idea by them, and they'll tell you how wrong and stupid it is, and you'll be like, "Okay, no, you got a point." Not to say that you should just completely. There's two bad ways to go about it. One, I think, is to just kind of be so staunchly set in your way that you don't at least reflect on it, to be like, okay, maybe I need to try to navigate this a bit better, or just kind of get bowled over by somebody's idea and be like, okay, yeah, you're right, I just won't even do it. Like, it's you gotta have the in between, everything in moderation, as the quote is apt to be said. Yes. This is not like a thing of drugs. This is literally me being old. Multivitamin. I'm getting old. But yeah. So that. I don't know if really. What else have we got going on? What's 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 going on? Yeah. Okay. That is all I got. For the topic, I kind of want to do a talk, sort of be about blah blah blah. In one hand, I want to talk about the just prideful bent we tend to take when it comes to online stuff. I see this a lot, particularly on whether it's in elongated forms on YouTube with let's say self-help videos, self-help books, the shorts on that are on things like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and stuff. There's the comedic side of things, which are these kind of quick pop, 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 pop. And then there's also these elongated forms of, oh, well, I'm going to talk at you and tell you that, oh, well, this is like what am I even thinking? five ways to tell that someone's not a good person or whatnot, or broad brushstrokes that I think do more harm than good. Like I have a really I don't want to say complicated, because complicated isn't the word for it. It's this duality with the concept of psychology. In one hand, it is very interesting to try to figure out the ways that people tick and operate and all that sort of stuff. However, because that information is disseminated very, very out in the open, it turns into everybody who learns a little bit wants to broad brush stroke behaviors and go, oh well, X is this because they did that, so Y is the result, instead of solely thinking of the person and the context of the situation as best as possible. It's like, well, we've got an equation for that. It disregards the individual, and I am very staunchly to a fault of individualistic. Like I side with the individual. Yeah, you. That is, I am not one for the crowds, says the man with the turkey hat and the ridiculous glasses. Thank Mom. Thanks. Not so much the turkey hat. She actually got me the glasses. Pretty neat glasses. So, but I remember as a kid, my mom had a bunch of these kind of medical books and stuff, and looking through those, and then like in college, absolutely hating psych classes because it did turning behaviors into equations, and I don't like that, especially when you get into a general sense of things. People will do that, and then they think they've got it figured out on somebody or some like instances of events and stuff, and it's and perhaps that is easier. Maybe it is my own failings in that I certainly have my opinions on things and what I believe, but I try to couch that with heck, I do it in my language all the time. I couch that with the with trying to leave enough space that it's like that it expresses that while I feel this way, there has to be at least a space where I can be wrong. Part of that's because I think to me, if somebody is so hell-bent on being right on something, I don't know. I don't like it. It's just we're all we all make mistakes. We all are wrong every now and again on things. But just the cocksuredness of, oh yes, well, I know, and this is what it is. I don't like that so much. It's just, let us just. I think part of that probably comes from, at least from what I've been told, that, you know, for example, if you know, I think I might have mentioned this before in a previous episode, but it's like, you know, my parents have said that the doctors told them that I'd never learn how to like talk, because of the ear and the birth defect with that, and that it would just, you know, that kind of thing, and that sort of stubborn resistance to to certain things like that, and always trying to, I guess, fight against the, you know, the bad cards given each round or just through life. It's in one hand it is a little it's fun. In some hands, it's also just very tiring to be like, okay, can I not have a round where I'm having to like really try to make sure this all lines up? But I don't know. Most of the time, it is a fun endeavor. But I think because of things like that, it's like, what's that one movie from the 90s? Attica, I think. Atticus. And we ain't talking Finches, but I think it's Attica. The one where it's like, oh, well, you know, you're genetically predetermined, you know, by this and that sort of thing. Though it's kind of like, well, dude did just sneak onto a spaceship when he probably gonna get somebody hurt. Big difference between trying to force your way into a position to where that now people are depending on you, but they believe that you have certain things. In the same hand, it does still track with my personal beliefs on that, is to not count somebody out, even if they are, even if they may not demonstrate the right stuff, we'll say. Always give him a chance, right? Always give him a chance. Which is hard because I say that and then I don't do that for myself, which is probably damning in its own right. But anyway, you know, you see, particularly with like the shorts and stuff, it's always like, you know, it's one thing when it's an essay talking about a game or an arcade system or something, and kind of going through the history of it and stuff. But then there's a lot of this just, I'm going to talk at you for advice, and I'm going to tell you what the signs are for this. I'm going to tell you what that you should do if somebody does this. I'm going to tell you, and you know, you can't really get a good. There's no good back and forth with that outside of you like saying something. I don't know. You know, it's just not. It's not natural, right? It is not a natural form of communication to where it's like, even this. I know I've said this before with this. Like it's not. And maybe it was said in an episode that I deleted because I didn't feel comfortable or like had it right. But it is not natural to have these one-directional conversations. I don't even like it to a degree with the rambling thing, just because it's, you know, I'd like to have these conversations with people, but I know in the same hand that it's a little heavy. And not only is it a little heavy, but it's just like, what's that one? I ain't got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Like, sometimes it's just, I get it. Like, I very much prefer having the obnoxious, let's, pull out all the wires and go digging into a conversation. And that can be very, very tiring, troublesome, and just not what people want to do when they get together. So yeah, that is. I think this is my outlet for it, because yeah. So, but it's this. What am I thinking? I don't know. It just feels like a prideful bent when you have that, but then you get people who do it and they'll like try to couch it with, well, I've done this and this and this, so these are reasons why what I'm saying has more weight, and not necessarily that I disagree with it or anything like that, but it's I wish I could remember the channel. There's a guy who's been reading for the first time, and it's not like this is the first person to do this sort of thing, but he's reading through Lord of the Rings, and as he's doing so, he's writing and filming just short little essays talking about certain aspects, and I'm going to paraphrase it, but there was a point at which, because he's towards the end of it, he's talking about how in the book there's a point where mentioning it's like, well, we may stop the fires of evil now, but that's not to say that that's going to be the case in future. Those people have to learn they'll have to learn their own, learn how to fix their own problems, and we have to be comfortable with that, because we can never fully contain and squash out evil. It's always going to be there, and I think that's something we fail, particularly with the advent of the internet, and just I don't remember which number it is, but this is kind of what I was leaning into with the one rambling of the Heart Etched in Stone. I remember the title for it, at least. I think it was around the 40s, but was this attempt to try to solidify and make permanent things like video, pictures, the words on a journal. It is all ephemeral. At some point, or a good word that David likes to use, diaphanous. It's just sort of fleeting. Maybe not quite ethereal, but it is like smoke, misty smoke in the morning, fog being lifted as the sun rises. It may be there for quite a while, but at some point it will dissipate, and part of that dissipation happens, especially nowadays, just with the absolute gluttony of what there is. So there are all these people who are trying desperately to help in their own way, we'll say. I think that's what we try to do. I think that's why we tell stories, why we try to pass information, why we give advice and stuff, is to be like, hey, this is what I have perceived, experienced, yada yada yada. Take of it what you will. But the thing is take of it what you will is not really what ends up being. It's like, well, I've done this, so this is obviously how this works. And that's not how this works. It's not how the game is played. Everybody has, as infuriating and obnoxious as we may feel it is, everybody's got to learn, and everybody's got to live. As the great Sonic song is live and learn. I don't even know what game that's from. I just love that song. I don't care how cheesy that is. Anyways. It is, yeah, it's an over explanation that's, because of the nature of it, lacks that kind of conversational back and forth. Especially, particularly you see this on the other spectrum of things where it's like this really, really lengthy, like, oh, here's an 8 to 12 hour video essay on like a game or something like that. And you'll try to point something out, and then, oh well, you forgot. You might get a response or something. It's like, well, you forgot when I talked about that here at the 7 hour 35 minute mark for 12 minutes or something. Like, that's unfair. Like, that is really unfair to think that you can dictate a conversation for 12 hours and expect people to just remember all of that. Maybe partially because it's a lot easier to do in book form, because you can write it and it's more, well, maybe not more, but yeah, I'll go with more. But that's because for me that writing is more permanent than the video, if that makes any sense. Probably doesn't. I don't have a good argument for that. Maybe just because of hearing it and watching it and how little I value it versus the writing aspect. That can certainly play a part into it, but and that's not to like try to denigrate the people who do put all that time and effort into making those things, but it's just the opposite side of the coin on that. And even just shorter stuff like an hour, 45 minutes, it is trying to pull. We talk about how poorly the education system is, and just how not so good. And I think part of that stems from not teaching people how to be creatively thoughtful, or just to think and critique and parse things out themselves, or try to synthesize information, or try to, I mean, not even critique, but just use questions to pull back and understand things. You don't get that with these kind of videos, and I mean, even with the short shorts, wear short shorts. With the shorts, it's a little bit more feasible because you can have that kind of back and forth, but it's still not like it's a facsimile of just simple conversation. So, we're taking the whole educational side of things where it's like, oh, hey, talking, and you may ask questions and stuff at certain points, but then it's like, well, I've already done all this, so here's this. Now, that's not to say that it doesn't work for some people, but it though it may work for some people, it does not work for other people. And I really, yeah. And plus, if a video is long enough, the absolute deluge of comments with people making their own remarks and stuff that, maybe they have a really good point, but it's like a 7 to 8 paragraph thing about stuff, and it's like, now multiply that by however many hundreds, maybe even thousands, and then you're trying to sift through all of that versus these short quips and comments and stuff. You have to have a lot of discernment to be like, okay, is this worth it? And then you read through it, okay, well, it wasn't worth it, yada yada yada. Again, I think it is a poor replacement for conversation, and conversation within just the people around you kind of thing. We have tried to sidestep that with, everybody, the internet makes it so easy to just connect everybody, and it does to a degree, but in the same hand, it is a poor replacement for a lot of the different things that go on. Like I said before, yeah, either you learn to lift and deal and you know, quote unquote, better the people around you, or you bear with them. And we tend to try to either bear with them or simply straight up ignore them, and go that route with it. Yeah, that is what I got. Yeah. Well, yeah, personal antecedent here. I don't know how. I don't know how I'm going to try to wedge this into what we're talking about, but I'm going to try to. So one of my coworkers, more recently, I've been working in a different spot than kind of just driving about and doing my thing, and so I've gotten to spend a little bit more time socializing with other coworkers, and I what was it that spurred this? Oh, they borrowed my pen. And I got this nifty weighted pen. I mean, it's not that, to me, it's not that heavy, but she borrowed it. At first, she was like, "Oh my god, this is a really cool pen." Walked off to do, whatever, write a few things out, and then gave it back. She's like, "This is too heavy. Take this. Get this away from me." And we were just talking about just writing in general, and for me, like that's how I start the story stuff. Unfortunately, it's a very long process, but the only way I can really properly write is by writing out by hand, and going from there. So it does, like, I don't get the hand cramps and stuff, and it's just how that works for me. And she was like, "Oh yeah, I get that," and then she was talking about she was just like, "Yeah, when I," and then she gets like really quiet, and she's just like, when I manifest," and I'm like, okay. I kind of turned to her and it was like, "That's not, aren't you kind of defeating the purpose if that's your thing to be doing, to kind of do that?" And she's like, "Well, I don't want you to make fun of me." And I was like, "Well, I mean, I may not agree with that being the thing, but I don't think making fun of you really, I don't know if shaming somebody for something like that is the best way to go about it. Particularly when you're already doing that sort of thing, when other people have seemingly shamed you for it in the first place. So really, I don't know if dogpiling well after the fact, because you're already doing this kind of behavior. But where I'm getting at with all that kind of stuff is that and it's it's something, like I said, it's something I really don't believe in. I don't think it's good. But where I'm trying to get at with that is that it's like that sort of conversation doesn't happen in online. I mean, you may get it through like having like your own like Discord group channels and stuff, and conversations and back and forths that way, but it certainly does not happen, I mean, at least not that I'm aware of, on things like shorts or videos and stuff. Perhaps on streams are a lot more inclined to have that sort of thing, but because that's much more of an immediate back and forth, even though it is there is a woeful discrepancy in the power dynamics between those conversating, unless they're, and even if they're talking in person, I mean, there's still the, "Oh well, this is my channel and this is my followers," and stuff. So there is still that weird kind of dynamic, but so it is the I don't think like you can have that kind of that type of interaction regularly online, I would say. And I certainly could be wrong, because I can see where you could still have that to a degree, but then there's always that willingness to just cut things and be like, nope, okay, we ain't talking no more. Nope, that's ridiculous. That, and they also just through lack of ability to discern subtext clues, or subtext. I think that's the right word for it. Somebody's intonation if you're only reading through texts or things that are typed out, body language, that sort of thing. So you miss a lot of that, and yes. But yeah, no manifestation. Just pray to God at that point. Like, don't be trying. It's opening doors I don't think you should open. But that is, I guess, what I got. The end. I think that's gonna to wrap that up as best as I can. It's a little bit better than the one I had tried to do last week. At least that's what I'm telling myself. So, So thank you for watching and listening, and yeah, taking the time to do so. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, weekday, weeknight, and everything in between. And yeah, I will hopefully have another one next week. I just need to pin down. I mean, I have a bunch of topics. I should still be fine because things Saturday. So yes. So. Oh, I guess to add to that story at the end there, it is kind of weird that somebody will feel that way, but then she knows that I am the goober with the turkey hat. So it's like, it is kind of funny how the in the moment, people will have certain things about it, but then they'll be like, think about it. Goober walking around with a turkey hat. Not on at the moment, but yeah. I am a man of many hats. So I actually used that line the other day because I was making a delivery somewhere, and it started raining, and I had the turkey hat on and stuff, and the woman was like, it was a pretty big order I was delivering and stuff, and the woman was like, oh no, it's starting to rain. And so I opened the cab to my vehicle, took off the turkey hat, put on a duck hat, and I turned to her and I was like, that's okay, I have a hat for every occasion. A hat for every occasion. So but yeah, goodbye. See you next week. So take care. Toodaloos.